Really? Is it? Could it be? Yes. Let's just cut right to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Bob Doyle Show. Now look, here's the deal. I'm on my crappy headphones. Okay? So, I admit it. I'm just saying it up front. I'm on my crappy headphones. I don't know how good this is going to sound. You know, I swore off using these things. Well, whatever. Here I'm doing it. You know, so call me a liar. Call me a damn liar if you want. I mean, if that makes you feel better. It wasn't my intention to lie. I don't know why you're, jumping down my throat like this. But okay, whatever. You're entitled to respond however you want to respond. That's what the Bob Doyle Show is all about. Actually, I heard today the In-N-Out Burger. Are you familiar with it? Of course you are. In-N-Out Burger. Well, it's a fast food restaurant chain. They didn't have them in the East Coast, but they have them out here in California. My son-in-law loves In-N-Out Burger. Now I've just set the precedent. And in fact, I think when we made the move from Atlanta to L.A., we stopped at an In-N-Out Burger so that I could have my first In-N-Out Burger experience. All right, are we clear now? We've done the In-N-Out Burger nostalgia. There. But today I heard a commercial for In-N-Out Burger, and the tagline was, "In and out. That's what hamburgers are all about." And I'm like, really? This is the slogan? In and out? That's what hamburgers are all about? I mean, I'm sorry, it's a little disgusting. It's just, plain and simple. So I am. Why are you on this headset using the crappy microphone? You might say. I'm sure you did. I'm sure it was the first thing that popped into your mind when I was complaining about it. Because the first thing you're going to think is, okay, well, why are you doing this if you hate it so much? And then why are you subjecting us to it? And how long are you going to talk about it? All fair questions. I just want this to be okay sounding. This is really my second test, I guess, of this. And I'm holding the microphone up away from my shirt so it won't rub. I'm doing the best I can with this, the already proven to be crappy microphone. But, I'm doing it because I am out of the apartment right now because Lynn is having a session with someone. And I will be texted when I'm allowed back. Thank you very much. That's not how she said it. I don't want anyone to think that is how Lynn was. Because, I could paint a picture. I could paint a totally inaccurate picture if I wanted to. Creative license, And then you'd believe she was somebody that she's totally not. But I would never do that. I have to say, where I'm sitting, because I'm so distracted by what I'm looking at that I can't not acknowledge it. And I wish that I could take a picture as part of this broadcast and show you. But where I am right now is I'm at the end of this street, which is by a channel. So we live in a marina, which is connected to a channel, which then goes out to the ocean. And there's this stretch of, it's the channel. So there's buildings on one side and there's buildings on the other side. And along this side of the channel, there's a walkway, and you can park and basically look across the channel. So now it's nighttime where I am. It's 8:23, but it's dark here because it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon now. So I'm in my car, and I'm looking out the front window across the channel, and right across from me is like a big. It's funny because in my mind, I can't resolve where this is, and this is right down the street from me. It's either apartment or a hotel or whatever, but anyway, the way I'm seeing it now is just buildings and the lights coming out of them. and the reflection of the building and the lights in the channel. And that's really what it looks like, a painting. That's really what I was getting at. And then there's another building to the right, a little further down, smaller, but the lighting is more subtle. And but it still is painting a really cool reflection, and I wish I could take a picture of it. But even if I could, ladies and gentlemen, it's an iPhone I've got. It would not do it justice. So I decided that I would, while I'm waiting for my text to say, you can come home, then I would just do a show. Because here's what I did. Here's what I did do. Because, so she said she needed a couple hours. All right, so I left at 6. And I went to a local eatery called the Burger Lounge. Anyone have a burger lounge? They have and I was reminded of it tonight. I was trying to say today and tonight at the same time, and it came out whatever that was. They have the bomb ditty of ginger beer. It's called True Craft, I think, is the name of the people who make the drinks. They use organic cane sugar or something like that. Anyway, I don't know. It's the best. It's just the best ginger beer I've ever had. And I've been tasting all these other ginger beers to try to find its equal, something that I can purchase. The closest I found, and I meant to say this the other day on the last podcast that I did, which was just a couple of days ago. This is a very recent. Number 11 came quickly after 10, if those numbers are right. I don't even know anymore. I'll have to fix that. I shouldn't be numbering them anyway. It's goofy. It's not, I don't know. Just be dated, and that's automatic. It's just the Bob Doyle Show podcast and a title. But enough with the numbers, right? I think that's going to have to be my philosophy on this. This is the official end of numbering the podcast. As long as I remember that next time I do one. So I'm gonna close a couple of loops here. One that I closed was I barely opened it about the ginger beer on the podcast the other day, but I did mention, or I started to, that I had found a new ginger beer, and it was at the airport in Sacramento coming back from Thanksgiving. And it's a brand called, are you all taking notes? All of you who, study ginger beer are always looking for you know what I'm saying. You know who you are. Gosling's ginger beer. They had it at the airport, and I was like, well, this is awesome. And I immediately started doing some searching as to where I might be able to purchase some of that, because I've never seen it in my local grocery stores. But luckily, I didn't need to, because I thought perhaps BevMo, which is a distributor, it's a big package store chain. Package store, for those of you who don't know, means it's beer and wine and alcohol. Well, that's all alcohol, isn't it, Bob? You ridiculous person. Alcohol. An ABC. A liquor store, okay? It's just, we say package store. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a good reason. I've gotten lazy with holding the cord for the headphones. Sorry, I just don't have it in me. But I don't really think you care. I'm the only one who does, and I will. All right, so that was the one loop that I closed. Gosling's ginger beer. I found it locally, so now you can all rest easy because I can purchase it by the liter anytime I want to go down to that particular store. Not always convenient, but, when you got to have your ginger beer, well, you got to. Here's the downfall. The liter bottles, the aforementioned liter bottles that I can purchase them in, once you open it, and then, you put the lid back on, and the next time, it just doesn't have the same zippity-doo-dah, and it's important. Ginger beer is, it's got to have that bite. Otherwise, why? It's all about the bite. And then, but the ginger beer, the True Craft from Burger Lounge, the one that I'm talking about, you just taste the ginger, just ginger. It's so pure, good ginger beer. And then Gosling's also very good. Fever Tree also has a great bite. These are in descending order, my favorites. The True Craft, the Goslings, the Fever Tree. Although Fever Tree and Goslings, see, I'd have to do a side-by-side. They're both really good. They might tie. And then you've got your Reeds and your Bundaberg. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Of course you do. Of course you do. Like you didn't. Sorry. So now there's that one. But shoot, now I'm trying to remember the other loop that I opened that I said I was going to close. Oh, yes. The titles. The title of yesterday's, or the last podcast, was The Lame Titles, What's Up With That, or something along those lines. And that was going to be the first thing I addressed, and I got derailed immediately and continued to derail for another 40 minutes. So it was just one big derail and a lot of open loops, I think. I actually listened back to it and I was like, wow, I'd forgotten I even started that one. Clearly didn't finish it. But as I was sitting here getting ready to start this particular podcast, on my phone, I should say, although that should be obvious, I was immediately reminded of the title of yesterday's, the last ones, and why. Why are there lame titles and descriptions on your audio podcast, Bob? Well, I'll tell you why. Because starting a live audio podcast spontaneously is a pain in the butt. Because, now look, I don't know that there's any way around this. So I'm not, regardless of the app, I don't know what the way around this is. But you have to think about it. Are you thinking of it? Put on your thinking caps, boys and girls, because I'm going to take you down thinking lane to do some thinking. I'm just waiting for you to get your thinking caps on. When you start a live broadcast, that means at the same time when that starts, the title's got to go out, the description's got to go out, you got to have keywords, you got to have a picture, all that's got to get done from the moment you say, "Oh, I think I'm going to do a podcast." Now you got to do all that stuff. Typing all that in on a phone, on an iPhone. Oh, with my eyes. Not a pretty sight, and it just is so cumbersome. So it's like, how few words and letters can I use right now? I just want to do the show. And then, I can go back after the fact to Spreaker or wherever and change the description, but once I do the show, it's just a matter of not that long before it gets shot up to iTunes, and I can't go back and change it once it's up there. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe it'll change. Maybe it reads the feed on a regular basis, and if I go back and change it in the original feed from Spreaker, I'll just have to test that, boys and girls. You just watched me have that idea of something to try to remember to test. But anyway, that's. But it doesn't really solve the issue of I really want to do these things spontaneously. So what would be great is if there was a generic, auto-filled, like whenever I start the Bob Doyle Show, the title is The Bob Doyle Show Podcast, the description is The Audio Companion of the Bob Doyle Show, or whatever, just bare minimum. And I can take a quick picture, but then the keywords would already be filled in, everything, just, it's a default. So then I just maybe take a picture and hit go, and I wouldn't even have to take a picture, there's a default picture. So I could just say, I'm doing a Bob Doyle Show, go. And then at least that way, when it's broadcast out to Facebook or wherever, it's got some bare minimum information. And then if the theory is correct that I can go back and retroactively change the podcast information for iTunes, great. See? Well, I brought you into still another Bob Doyle show planning session meeting that neither one of us knew was going to occur. So here's the other quandary that we've got going right now. Look, and I'm going to preface this by saying I'm aware I'm a grown man and I have lots of options. Okay, so let's just. But I'm also a grown man who just, end of my day, it's dark. I just, I'm like spitting distance from my bed, basically, or at least a comfortable chair. But at the Burger Lounge, and because it was the best wow, how that was an epic fail of speaking. I really, this is something I need to bookmark, so I go in and extract that piece of audio and do something with it. I think I need to bring it into a sampler or, some sort of musical thing, and because I don't think I could say that again if I studied it and wrote it out phonetically. Okay, so anyway, go to Paris, France, and now I've totally derailed myself. My eyes are so bad. I'm looking down at this phone, and I'm looking at the interface of the Spreaker app, and all I see is blur. Now I've got, of course, attached to the back of my phone case, my thin optics, and now I put them on, and I can see. Thin optics, you say? If they sponsored my show, my ad would go something like this. Somewhere along the line, I went from being a person who made fun of my friends for having to put on readers to read their computer screen to being among them. And not just a little bit, but a lot bit. And I've gone to, look, before you start jumping down my throat, telling me what to do, I've been to the eye doctor, okay? I have a pair of prescription lenses. It took me a long time to get them, but they're progressive lenses, and those things, I'm sorry, they're kind of a pain in the butt. You got to hold your head just right, etc. Sometimes I just want to read my screen or read the menu, But if you're anything like me, and I'm sure you are exactly like me in every way, you've gone and bought readers. You go to the drugstore and you buy your readers for however much you buy them for. And then you got to hang them in your shirt, or you got to hang them around your neck all the time, or you stick them in a pocket and they're bulky, and then sometimes you break them, or you forget them, or you lose them, or whatever, right? You lose them. How many times have you lose? You know what my solution was to losing them? I bought 14 pairs. Is that right? Am I exaggerating that? 7, maybe. I bought a lot one day. They had a big package. I swear I think it was 14 of readers. I could probably dig up 5 of them right now. Anyway, point is, I had to do that so I could put one in every room because they aren't convenient to carry around. Do I get an amen, ladies and gentlemen? Of course I do. Then I see somewhere online, that magical place, the source of all things, a little ad about something called thin optics. Little plastic lenses that basically gently pinch onto your nose and stay there very firmly and comfortably and act as temporary readers. But they're so thin, ladies and gentlemen, you can slide them right into your wallet or into the handy case that they come with that will stick to the back of your wallet or your phone or your whatever. So you'll always have them. I personally have mine stuck on the back of my iPhone case. And that's where I need them the most. And they are always there with me because my phone is always with me. See how it works? My readers are always with me. And they're in my wallet. Thin as can be. And they're available in different colors and different powers. And guess what? Here's the kicker. Lifetime guarantee. What are you talking about, Bob? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. if anything happens to your thin optics, like you do something crazy with them, which you'd have to do, by the way, because these things, they're pretty sturdy. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be upfront with you. Thin optics, they weren't my first experience with these pinch your lenses onto your nose things. Nope. I bought a pair for twice the amount of thin optics. And boy, did they break. Because the little bridge between the lenses, there was barely any bend. There was enough to give you the pinch. But, you take those things on and off enough time, they're going to break. And they did. But with thin optics, if that happens to you, unlikely. But if it does, all you got to do is say, hey, look, this happened. Replaced. No questions asked. They didn't ask me any questions. All right, that's not true. They asked, what's wrong? What did you do? Like perfectly logical questions. I went to their website. They said, who are you? This is who I am. What broke on them? This. What kind were they? Boom. Had them in a couple of days. And that was well after a year. And that was just me roughhousing with them. True to their word, ladies and gentlemen. I will never be without these. Because even if I do some kind of ninja stuff with them, some kind of CIA experiment for indestructibility, which, I've been known to do. But you didn't hear me say that. It's covered. Covered. And by the way, they work great. I feel like I put them on and I'm a superhero. Like suddenly I've got X-ray vision and then some. Everything looks so crisp and clean and ever so slightly enlarged based on my preference of magnification. Just like you can choose yours. Guys, it is a no-brainer. You've got to go check out Thin Optics at thinoptics.com. It would be weird if they had any other web address. And that would be the end of my spot, see? And I gave them a good, 3 minutes there or so. Maybe more. You don't think that would sell a ton of those glasses? They'd at least go to the webpage, right? They could find out what I'm talking about. Right? It had all the elements. It's story, and it's true story. See, this true story. That's the best kind. So let's get Thin Optics, in here. I'll let you do it because I'm too busy. I'm not really. Well, I am, but, that's really not why I'm asking you to do it. I would just rather you do it than me. And wouldn't it be more fun for you, too? I mean, to contribute to the Bob Doyle Show in this way. For you to go out there and find the sponsors. Wouldn't you feel, somewhat ownership in that? Every time I talked about Thin Optics, you could say, that's because of me. And then your friends would go, really? What do you get out of that? And you'll say, well, right. So that'll be an awkward moment. I'm just giving you a heads up. That's coming. But thanks in advance for the sponsors. Look, sometimes, like right now, the show is just for me. I remember what I was saying. And it's funny how I'm reminded. So because I was in Burger Lounge, hadn't had access to the greatest ginger beer on the planet, I had 3 of them. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you not in the know, ginger beer is non-alcoholic. I have not in any way strayed from my cessation of alcohol as of January 2nd of this very year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming up on the 1-year mark. What to do to celebrate? I'll tell you, jury duty. I think I've actually mentioned that on this show. Seems like the kind of thing I talk about on the podcast. more than the actual show. But you never know. You just can't put anything past me. I mean, I can't. I've tried, and every single time. Oops, wait a minute. I just got a message from Lynn. We're still going, but aiming to wrap it up. We'll text you when done. I hope you're okay. All right, I'm just going to write her, even as we record this. I hope it's not messing things up. I'm going to say, I'm down the street doing my podcast while I wait. Okay. Hope you're all still there. Looks like you might be. Okay, so we'll see what she says. And if it's not personal or private or, inappropriate, I'll tell you exactly what she says. Every single word. Because, I think she'd want you to know. She may not say anything. She may look at that and go, okay, great. He's fine. But what she doesn't know is how I was going to finish what I was going to tell you, which is because I had 3 of them. Well, I have to go to the bathroom. So there's that. And that's what I was referring to. I'm going to close this is like the closingest, loopiest show of all time. That's why I said earlier, I know I'm a grown man. I can handle this. I can drive anywhere I want to. Step in and go, excuse me, where's your freaking restroom? And say it just like that. They like that here. That's how you got to do it. If you don't do it that way, they know something's fishy. That's not true. So, remember how I was telling you about the reflection of the building across the way? Well, it's still awesome. And what it looks like is it's God, I wish I could describe it, because in the water, the lights look gold and silver, and it looks like they're spindles of like this glowing, shimmering gold and silver cable. I can't describe it. It's darn frustrating, but it is amazing looking. I may have to bring Lynn down here tomorrow and show her this and hope that it works. Watch, it won't be anything like this. I'll be like, sorry. Sorry I wasted your time being outside with me at a beautiful location together, probably holding hands, most likely. Sorry I did that. Women like it when you apologize a lot. They find it extremely sexy and masculine. Just apologize for everything. Honey, I'm sorry, but it's time for you to get up. Honey, I'm sorry, but I really enjoyed the meal I make you make every night. Okay, none of that made any sense. The last scenario, the honey and the meal, and I got to commit to who this guy is, and he was just he was both ends of it just now, and so that's not that's not going to work. So here's what's happening now. So I'm sitting here parked, and I assume it's okay, although there is a sign. It doesn't say no parking or anything like that. There are parking meters that are flashing red, but it's 8 whatever. I can't imagine that this is a time when you need to do them. And down the parking lot is a truck that looks like official. Like they might, like there's a little emblem on the side, and maybe they give tickets to people. I can't read it, of course, because I'm talking about my eyes here in my head. But I am moving in a very animated fashion, as to suggest to anyone watching that I'm having a phone call. That's the beauty of doing these podcasts on your phone. You can talk to yourself however you want to, all by yourself, as I am doing right now, in a car, and not feel or be crazy. Okay, well, truly, the second part, you cannot say that. I don't think I'm crazy. All right. The keys just fell out of the ignition of my car. And that caused the interior light to come on, which basically said, hey, everybody, look over here. Now, there is nobody here except for whoever that is in the truck down at the end. So I've just brought you into my little adventure. So how long have I been talking, you ask? I don't know because I can't freaking read. So here we go. I got my thin optics on. 30 minutes. See, that would have been the perfect time to end the show. If Lynn had just texted and said, if that text had said, we're done, come on home, I would have ended it. It would have been right at 30 minutes. It would have been the perfect podcast. But instead, well, it was this. It was this, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm not gonna keep it going. I am gonna end it here at the 30-ish mark, and start to visualize her calling so I can go to the bathroom.
It's the Bob Doyle Show.
Until I talk to you again, be nice to yourself. You've earned it.
It's the Bob Doyle Show.